the mountain of Tariq. Gibraltar, southern tip of the Iberian Peninsula. It was here in the spring of 711 that Tariq's army of Berbers landed after crossing the Mediterranean. Inside 3 years, he had toppled the Visigoth rulers and secured almost total control of the peninsula, turning it into a caliphal province known as Andalusia.
فهو بربري ولكنه مسلم قبل كل شيء، يعني دخل في الدين الجديد وصار من أبطال الدين الجديد، من أبطال الإسلام.
Along with the great conquests in Europe, there was more success in Asia. Muslim armies began advancing towards what is today Pakistan, Afghanistan, and the Central Asian republics. Within 10 years, they had reached the borders of China. The Umayyads had built the biggest empire yet known.
هذه العزيمة أنتجت إمبراطورية كما أنتج الرومان إمبراطورية بنفس الطريقة، كما أنتج اليونان قبلهم بنفس الطريقة، كما أنتج الفرس قبلهم بنفس الطريقة. التصميم والعزم والإرادة هي التي تصنع الإمبراطوريات.
Unlike the traditions of early Islam, the walls of Qusayr Amra in the Jordanian desert are painted in a Byzantine style. Here, Al-Walid is depicted not as a religious figure, but as an emperor. In just 10 years, he had made himself the most powerful man on earth. But his successors would struggle to retain that power. The Pyrenees, the daunting natural barrier between Spain and France. In 732, under the command of Abd al-Rahman al-Ghafiqi, the governor of Andalusia, Muslim forces crossed these mountains into French territory. Seemingly unstoppable, they advanced north, capturing one city after another.
جرأة عبد الرحمن الغافقي هي التي جعلته يتجه في اتجاه أبواتي رغبة منه بأنه قد، وأقول هنا قد، يقوم بفتح فرنسا أو بلاد غالا آنذاك، إلا أنه لم يكن على دراية بطبيعة الخصم، وهنا نتحدث عن شارل المطرقة كما يسميه العرب، ولم يكن كذلك على دراية بأن كان هناك نوع من الوحدة حول هذا الرجل.
On this field, to the north of the French city of Poitiers, the advancing troops were stopped by a Frankish army under Charles Martel. The Muslims were defeated and their commander, Abd al-Rahman, killed. Muslims remember this battle as the Martyrs' Yard, but European history knows it as the Battle of Tours, a victory that stopped the northern spread of Islam and saved Christian Europe.
It then came to symbolize for later historians, in particular for the great English historian Edward Gibbon. He saw it as a decisive turning point in the battle between Europe and the Muslim world. And he famously said that if it hadn't been for Charles Martel in Tours, we would now be preaching the Quran in Oxford.
This defeat in Europe in the reign of the 10th Umayyad Caliph, Hisham, brought an end to Umayyad invincibility. And just as his palace in Jericho, Palestine lies in ruins today, Hisham's death in 743 threw the whole state into chaos. After almost 2 years of Umayyad family infighting over the caliphate, Marwan II emerged as the 14th and last Umayyad Caliph.
ثم جاء في الأخير مروان بن محمد كان قد يعني اتسع الفتح ولا يستطيع أن يرقيه.
Absorbed by his efforts to contain trouble at the heart of the state, the new caliph was oblivious to grave events unfolding in the east.
A rather mysterious leader who's remembered by the name Abu Muslim was calling for pledges of allegiance to the Prophet's family, and he managed to draw a substantial following from eastern Iran into an army to oppose Umayyad rule.
The rebel army marched westward and captured Kufa in Iraq. In November 749, here in the city's mosque, Bay'ah, the oath of allegiance, was given to the first Abbasid caliph.
They proclaimed a man as caliph called Abu al-Abbas as-Safah, and he was a descendant of one of the Prophet Muhammad's uncles, and he based his claim to the caliphate on that kinship with the Prophet Muhammad.
In January 750, on the banks of the Zeb River in Iraq, the Umayyads, led by their caliph Marwan, fought their last battle against the Abbasid army. After a heavy defeat, Marwan escaped westwards. That summer of the year 750, he was killed by the Abbasids. After 90 years in power, the Umayyad Caliphate had been brought to an end.
Why the Umayyads lost power and what exactly happened in the Abbasid revolution is a difficult question, but it seems to be related to this ongoing sense that the Prophet's family had a right to rule the caliphate. And this was a problem that the Umayyads never really successfully contained.
Some Muslims believe that the caliphate should always have remained strictly within the Prophet's bloodline. This belief would lead to the biggest split in the history of Islam. A split which is still exploited to this day. The centuries-old divide between Sunni and Shia.